What's up, y'all? You're watching Union Minded. I'm your host, Eric, and today we're going to continue our theme talking about the relationship between the workers and the company. Now, we talked about the NLRA and why it was needed, and one of the rules that it established was that companies were not allowed to dominate unions. They were not allowed to take a part in the administration of unions. We already learned that when we talked about the NLRA. And then we went on to discuss the IBEW Constitution, Article 15, Section 5, where we read about the section that says that supervision management is not allowed to be at meetings. They're not allowed to vote on any issue that has to do with the union business. They're allowed to keep their membership if they would like, but they're not allowed to participate in the union affairs. We found those things out when we read the Constitution. Well, today we're going to talk about company unions. Company unions and what they are, what they were, and we'll also hear from a union buster. I took a snippet from an article, and we're gonna read that. So let's dive right in. We're going to talk about a company union. This is straight from Wikipedia. A company or yellow union is a worker organization which is dominated or unduly influenced by an employer and is therefore not an independent trade union. Company unions are contrary to international labor law. They were outlawed in the United States by the 1935 National Labor Relations Act due to their use as agents for interference with independent unions. However, company unions persist in many countries. Some labor organizations are accused by rival unions of behaving as company unions if they are seen as having too close or congenial a relationship with the employer or with business associations, even if they may be formally recognized in their respective jurisdictions as bona fide trade unions. They are usually rejected as such by regional and national trade union centers. In a study of one such organization, this form of company union was observed to rarely or never strike, exert relatively little energy in resolving individual workplace disputes, and undercut other unions by bargaining for well beneath industry standard terms, and was characterized thus, and this is a quote: an accommodationist or company union, an opportunistic pariah organization that allows employers who would otherwise face a real union a convenient union avoidance alternative. So the National Labor Relations Act banned company unions, and you can tell by this description that back in the day, like we discussed, before the 1935 National Labor Relations Act, companies would infiltrate unions and dominate unions. That's why the National Labor Relations Act was so important. There was a lot of strife back in the day. It was literally class warfare in the most literal sense. Now, I also told you that companies would hire spies, union busters, the Pinkertons and all these other detective agencies, and those spies would sell a service. This is from a union buster during the first half of the 20th century. All right, listen to this. Our man will come to your factory and get acquainted. If he finds little disposition to organize, he will not encourage organization, but will engineer things so as to keep organization out. If, however, there seems a disposition to organize, he will become the leading spirit and pick out just the right men to join. Once the union is in the field, its members can keep it from growing if they know how. And our man knows how. Meetings can be set far apart. A contract can at once be entered with the employer, covering a long period and made very easy in its terms. However, these tactics may not be good, and the union spirit may be so strong that a big organization cannot be prevented. In this case, our man turns extremely radical. He asks for unreasonable things and keeps the union embroiled in trouble. If a strike comes, he will be the loudest man in the bunch and will counsel violence and get somebody in trouble. The result will be that the union will be broken up. This is the type of service that union busting firms like the Pinkertons used to sell to companies. So we have to really learn our craft and learn what the history of our labor movement is, so that we can avoid the pitfalls that have already been corrected. We can't allow these same pitfalls to affect us today. We have to look at our past and our history so that we can spot the tactics coming today, because they're using the same tricks, they're using the same tools, and they're doing the same exact actions. And because we as members are not policing our unions, we're letting them get away with it, and we can't do that. So it's on all of us to really take ownership of our local, and together we can change the world. Together we can change the world. I believe the labor movement is the tool that can change the dynamics for the working poor, the middle class, and really balance the beams of power. Because right now they're like this, and I think labor is the only thing that can bring them into balance, where we can all have a decent standard of living. You know what I mean? Anyway, my name's Eric. You're watching Union Minded. Remember that the fight's not left and right, it's up and down. It's going to take solidarity to win always. Each one teach one, get out there and reach one. And remember, there could be no union without you and I front and center. Let's go.